Welcome to 1407 Grey Malkin Lane. This is the living memory of the X-Men. Don't let anyone tell you different. Okay, this is special. I have the upcoming writer for probably one of the X-Men who desperately needs just some like create like what this man brings to the table, what he's going to bring for Storm. If you haven't read Alkogun, the Brutalizer, oh my, it's gonna go. She's about to go off, like, and it's gonna be beautiful while you see it. You'll be like, "Am I what? This is this is amazing." Um, say your name one more time, brother. Say it one more time.
Murewa Ayodele.
Boom! There you go. My man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna probably ask you that about three more times, just like
Had a problem.
like you know what? I apologize. I'm ignorant. I'm trying to do better.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so you have the upcoming Storm book that looks phenomenal. I've been hearing nothing but good things. But what is your story? Like before we get into Storm story, what is your story? Like what got you into comic books and what made you gravitate towards Storm? Like and like, just throw it out.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Oshogbo in Nigeria, and I didn't get enough exposure to some of all this geek culture thing. But anytime I have just a little taste of it, sometimes it's as small as finally discovering Cinderella. I'm not even sure. I think it was maybe an hand me down from my sister or something, because I wasn't getting, and also I had an health challenge growing up. So my parents were trying like all the money they could get to save up for this major operation that they had to do abroad for 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 the surgery and everything. So I didn't, there wasn't much per se in terms of entertainment. There was food, there was all those stuff, no problem. But
Right.
it was the entertainment parts, not really much. So sometimes it's a little exposure to like Disney princess, like cartoons, maybe just one or two and stuff like that. But as after the surgery and my parents became more comfortable in their places of work and stuff like that, we got access to cable TV, and the
Okay.
most popular one here is called DSTV.
Mm.
So we're able to watch Cartoon Network. And
Oh,
then I discovered Samurai Jack. And I was like, yes, now, yeah, I've gotten it. So through
you were
that, you
exposed to it. Like
discover,
he's like,
yeah, so um, through that, you get more exposure to things like, Justice League,
yeah,
some of all these old DC cartoons,
of course.
and gradually I started discovering, because they have movie channels too, started discovering that, oh, there's this Spider-Man. There was this Spider-Man series too that was showing on MTV.
Yeah. Oh
There
yeah, I
was
remember that.
some,
I remember that. That was crazy.
so yeah, so those were those little tastes, and some Digimon from Nickelodeon, from a channel
Yeah,
Nickelodeon.
I remember.
So different stuff like that, just getting a taste of them. So it was mostly in cartoon form. Then through your exposure to all this, you now find out that, oh, there's something called comic books, and that's where all these characters come from.
Right.
So, some maybe you've seen them on some kids' school bag, some designs of stuff and things like that. So you
Yeah.
find that, okay, this is a series that came from like comic books.
Yeah.
So I grew interest in these comic books, but I couldn't get access to them. They are not, the access to them is not numerous in Nigeria, and it's even worse in where I live. So um gradually I had to start watching YouTube channels, channels like Rob Comics Explained, where they
Yeah.
like tell you some of all these things. You read some of all these websites that were popular, and I can't remember them all, where they will tell you that, in this issue, Black Panther and Storm finally, blah, 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 and just read. So it was mostly about reading up about things around comics
Right.
more than comics itself.
Right. Right.
So you would. you would know the writers that are popular, even though you've never read anything they've written. You would know the characters and what they were up to, even though
Right.
so and so on. So, but when I finally got to college and I had my own laptop, um, and I had some friends that knew how to get access to pirated copies because getting them was another
That's your
thing. Because some of
limitation. It's
this
fine.
yeah, because some of these foreign websites don't collect Nigerian cards, currency issues, and all those stuff. So I had friends that had manga, digital comics. So I just go to their room, collect them, load them up. And I think some of the first ones that I was really reading was I started out with Batman by Scott Snyder
Yeah.
and Greg Capullo. But at the time, I hated it at first.
Yeah.
Not because of the writing, but because I was coming from animation background.
Right.
And Greg Capullo's artwork is the farthest thing from cartoons. You
Mhm.
know, the lines are these rugged, scratchy lines, and I'm coming from cartoons where the lines are silky smooth. So I'm like, why does this feel like unfinished work? Why does it feel all scratchy? Like, what's going on here? So I wasn't vibing with it. So, but I was always trying new books, trying to get into the vibe, reading some old comics like Sin City. I loved that one.
Yeah.
I read Watchmen, I read Killing Joke. I preferred Killing Joke because it just flowed better,
Yeah.
you know, stuff. But the comic that finally sealed it in for me was oddly enough Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples.
I'm reading that now. It's like, wow. Wow,
It's so good.
right?
And if you're coming from cartoons, you would see why you like it
Yeah.
because it has like painted backgrounds like cartoons. The foreground is flat colored. The lines are smooth. So you could adapt the panels into a cartoon. So it's
It's more
felt
polished.
closer to home for me. Yes.
Okay.
So when I now got hooked on that, I could now start stretching out to now be like, okay, now I can try more experimental things. I was Wicked Plus the Divine, all those stuff. Then I discovered Donny Cates, Jonathan Hickman. I went back to Batman. I now loved it now after I was now familiar with the medium, Mr. Miracle, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And that's like how I gradually started reading more and more comics and loving everything surrounding it. So yeah,
Okay.
that's like the short form of my journey into comics.
So, yeah, I really appreciate that. Like you said, you went from cartoons to comic books, and you just saw like all the imperfections, and so you're like, let's make
Mhm.
this better. Like we can make this as good as not better than the cartoons. I Man, that's crazy. And also, if you're not reading Akugun right now, oh my god, I'm so, the brutalizer. Just I was telling, we were talking about it before, and just say like, this is epic. This is mind blowing, and it's like,
I'm really glad you like it.
oh man, it's crazy. Okay, so Storm. Storm has had a lot of history. She's had a lot of different writer to various degrees of success. And like what like what are your intentions with the character? Like what is your
First
game
of all,
plan?
like how do you yeah, like how do you even like start your research when they call you to start stuff? Like where do you even begin?
Right.
Yeah, I faced similar challenges and I'm like, oh shit. They were like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I was like, man, because you know, so the thing about comic book writing, like, yeah, everybody says, oh yeah, like just do what you like and stuff like that. Yeah, you also want to write what you like, but sometimes, but nobody likes getting bad reviews. Nobody likes getting heat from fans. So you also want to get a taste like, okay, what are the things like fans like too? And when it comes to Storm, like when I was doing my research, it was very divisive. Like some people say they like just even a look. Some are like, oh yeah, they like punk Storm. And
Yeah.
some are like, ah, it's ugly, it's terrible. Some are like they prefer her in white. Some are like they like her in black. And I'm like, oh shit, And she's had this long history, And some are like, I prefer her in Wakanda. And some are like, no, I prefer her in the X Mansion. And so I like, how do you tackle this? How do you tackle? So I kept going to the research, like, okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to Jan Size X-Men. Let's try to see this. And
Right.
going to Jan Size X-Men, the first thing you hear is she was worshipped as a goddess. I'm
Right.
like, okay, there's something here. I keep doing more and more research, more and more research. I get to Fantastic Four, where there's a scene where Doctor Strange wants to save the universe. But to save the universe, they need to put eternity into someone's body. And the only person that could accommodate, the only person's mind that could accommodate such a vast entity was Storm. So that was there.
Yeah, I remember.
I went back in time again um to this because they said there was an upcoming Doctor Doom events. So
Right.
they would like me to kind of playing into it and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, Dr. Doom. Okay, let's do some Dr. Doom Storm research. You know, I learn about Rogue Storm, where she unleashes herself, and her costume turns all white. And she starts talking like a goddess again.
Right.
And I keep seeing all these things about, yeah, there's this hidden thing about her that keeps showing up in all these books. Like if you keep reading it in like once in 10 years, she shows something and it disappears. We never see it. There's like this untold story about her that keeps showing up, and like every writer pulls back, and I'm like, okay, that thing, that little thing, that's the story I want to tell. And that's what unlocked it for me, basically. I had already written like 5 episodes of another story. But when we got this, I like, okay, you know what? Let's scrap everything. This is the story. This untold story that everybody keeps dodging from. Yes, that's what we want to tackle. So it's a combination of our first appearance, the eternity thing, and the Rogue Storm thing where she meets Doom. So it's a combination of that
Okay.
sparks the story that we're going to explore in this series. And that's why we tag this series The Labors of the Eternal Storm, or the Eternal Storm Saga.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Okay. One thing I've noticed, you call the issues episodes. I do that too. That's a cartoon thing. That's a cartoon thing.
That's a cartoon thing.
Oh man. No, okay. Your ideas for Storm are amazing. I'm really into it. Like I'm ready. I'm ready for Wednesday by at the time of broadcast. But
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm,
this
mhm.
so like um what kind of like are we gonna get any new villains? Are we gonna get any new like supporting characters? Like or you can't talk about that yet? Like or what is your overall yeah.
Yeah. The there's this thing that I tend to do. Okay, so there's this trend that happens in comics these days,
Sure.
and it's because we tend to have short runs on comics
Yeah.
because of the where the market is right now.
Okay.
And also, Hollywood has been coming into comics to mine a lot of materials. And you see a lot of writers that have done like epic stories, and just because they didn't create any new thing, they don't get any slice of the check. They
Uh,
just because they didn't create any new character, any new anything. So you see that a lot of writers, when they get on a big book, you quickly dish out new characters, you quickly dish out all these new things so that you can get a cut of the check. You can say created by and things
right.
like that. Like so, and I was trying to take a little step away from that because some of there's this thing about X-Men I've noticed about X-Men fans, even Marvel fans. One of the things that gets us excited a lot is, yeah, we love new characters, but it is taking something that has existed, but we didn't know how badass it was. In fact, we overlooked it, and suddenly somebody makes it badass.
Right.
You're like, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So those are the kind of things I want to play around with. They're going to be new characters, but we're not focusing on them yet. Even those new characters are going to be birthed from existing characters we already know. So
Okay.
one of the what the character is going to play in a major role is called Oblivion.
Mhm.
And Oblivion hasn't played that much of a big role in comics. Even in Gods, he only showed up in like two issues. But just the name, just the sound of his name, just
That's
how
a
cool
cool
his
name.
design is. And the fact that he's so badass, even eternity can't mess with him. All the cosmic entities fear him. They're like, yes, that's my villain. So
Okay.
Oblivion is going to be the main villain of this story. And
Okay.
that's what we're going to follow. We're going to elevate him to like gigantic level. We're going to see how powerful, how brutal he is. And so that's what we're going to be doing for this story. It's going to be Oblivion. So we're going to be having like little challenges along the way, because this is still like inspired from the labors of Hercules. So
Yeah.
there's going to be little, but the main villain, the overarching villain, is going to be Oblivion,
Okay. I
and we're
got.
going to have fun just playing around with that.
Okay. All right. I like that. I really like that. Like also I like the labors of Hercules. I like that. Oh, dang. So with with what you're bringing to Storm, and you're like you're a fan of older characters. You like bringing older characters to the forefront, right?
Yes, but not too old,
No,
because
not too
I
old.
also sympathize with, yeah, because I also sympathize with new readers, because I see this thing also, like everybody should do their own thing. Like there's always a fan base for everything. But I don't want I also don't want to write for a fan base that I might not necessarily belong to. Because when I was getting into comics, I knew how hard it was, like getting to discover some of these characters. I have some books that are just dense with referencing nothing but old characters, and I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. Can you please just explain to me what this person does? And yeah, so it's something that we're playing around with in this story. So the stories, even though that it's epic, it's grand, when you get introduced to new characters, it's in bits by bits. We don't want to overwhelm you, because I tried a lot getting to X-Men comics. It was one of the hardest comics to get into of all the franchises. And that was because when I get into X-Men, you're just bombarded with like 50 characters, and I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and every character that has a metal arm is drawn the same. They have the same things, like, you know,
Oh,
the whole
okay.
Colossus arm thing. It's like, I don't like what's going on here.
Oh my. Okay.
Is it the
Yes.
same guy?
No. No. You're right. No. Like, see, the thing about it is with X-Men, it's just like it's like jumping into a pool, not knowing whether or not it's been heated or like it could be cold,
Yeah.
but it could be really warm. You just gotta just jump in, and then once you get into it, once you get your footing, then you start going backwards. Like that's how I learned how to do it. Like, but yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of lore. It's a lot
So
of
yeah, so we're
history.
going to use like old, yeah, so we're going to use old characters, but we're going to be very careful now we introduce them gradually and not all at once and that kind of thing. So we're going to be playing around with, like, in issue three, she's going to visit the Uncanny X-Men. So
Okay.
we're going to have that. In issue two, she's going to visit Dr. Voodoo, you know.
Oh,
And in issue one, she's going to team up with Frenzy. In issue four, we're going to see her with Dr. Doom. In issue five, we're going to get the first appearance of Oblivion in this series.
cool.
And
Okay.
in the second arc, the supporting character is going to be Maggot. So we're going to be gradually adding characters, but not all at once to overwhelm you.
Thank you for confirming Maggot because he's been one of my favorites since he first appeared back in '97. I like I thought this dude was the coolest. He had two slugs that just ate everything. He had white hair,
And it's cool, you know?
and he was constantly hitting on everybody. He was hitting on everybody. Like,
And I wanted to see how that is going to clash with like Storm, like that dynamic. Like it's going to be it's going to be freaking annoying to Storm. So let's play
oh
around
my,
with that.
yeah, like I remember this one panel in X-Men 70. It was like his first appearance meeting Storm, and like he was talking to his slugs, and she was like, "You're not well, are you?"
You know, well, are you? Yes. Yes. I have that panel saved on my
It
laptop.
was so good.
Yeah.
And,
They are not well, are you? Yeah.
like I just wish that like I know they wrote him off in at the end of the Joe Kelly run of X-Men and he went over to Generation X. I wish he would have stayed with Generation X. I wanted to see what would have happened with that. I felt like he
So
would
yeah.
it was a fumble. I didn't like
Mhm.
but Mag is one of my favorites, so thank you for bringing in like this like and he was always so
Yeah, in
dapper
order to bring the
too.
Africans, yeah, in order to bring in the African squad, you know,
Yeah.
Kenyan, South African, let's bring them all aboard, you know. So
Oh
I have to play
man.
around with that.
Just it's crazy. And also, um, do you remember Maggot's origin story? Like, like when he showed his backstory.
Related to Magneto, like
Yeah. Like
yeah,
your art, the art in a Akuga. I keep the brutalizer.
yeah.
Like it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Like wow, like this, like the epic scale, just like clean, just like
Hmm.
I can't. It oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait till your book, bruh. It's gonna be it's gonna be
Yeah.
hard. It's gonna like it's the one book,
So
it's the one solo book I'm actually excited for. Everybody else is just like, but like you like Storm, I'm really like this looks like it has some legs. Like let's also a question. Are we gonna where are we with the storm as a god? Like are we gonna see more of that explored in your book? Like
um yeah, I think I've been having some pushback in that aspect because anytime I talk about Storm, I say she's a god, and I that's what I just say.
okay,
And I've been having that pushback because people think I'm being literal in as regards, oh yeah, she's now a member of a pantheon. That's not what I'm saying. She's a mutant.
right,
But the thing is, when you're telling the story of characters like Superman, Superman does not belong to a pantheon, but it's about what he represents. Like you see people telling a story, they tell a story in almost like it's like a story of Moses, like a story of a Messiah, you know, because that's the role he plays, you know. Someone from another culture comes to save these people, you know, it's what they stand for.
right,
So there are characters that have what they stand for, you know. You have Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibility, you
of
know.
course.
And reading Storm's story, what I've seen is if I'm going to break down everything to its simplest form, she's a god, not as regards belonging to a pantheon and everything, but the role she plays of standing for a people and fighting for them and protecting them, you know, that kind of mother role. That was the role she was already playing even before Charles Xavier found her, being the protector, the ruler of a group of people, you know, being responsible for them. That is the role she plays. In X-Men Red, that's a similar role she plays too. Forget the regent thing. If you look at the role she plays, it's the role of a god. You know, when she was married to T'Challa too, the Adariel, that was the role she was playing. So if you're going to if you're going to like concentrate everything she's been saying down, that's the role she plays. So we're not saying, oh, now she's now like belongs to a pantheon just like Thor or anything. We're saying the characteristics of this character, the way you say, oh, this person is a sorcerer supreme, you know, this person is a teacher, a mentor, you know, like um Tony Stark is an engineer.
Right.
Like You can call him any title, a scientist, a blah, 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 blah. The role he plays is the role of an engineer. He constructs things. But
Right,
when it comes to Storm, she's a god. That's the role she plays.
right,
It doesn't matter if she's a mutant, if it's nothing, but that's the role she plays in stories. And that's how we're going to treat her. That's how we're going to tell our story.
right.
So that's what I mean anytime I say, yeah, she's a goddess, that kind of thing.
I okay. See, my thing with Storm is always where does the magic start and where does the mutant begin? It's kind of like a chicken and egg situation with that, you know? Like, does our mutant
No,
power,
like
or is our mutant powers powered by her magic, or is her magic, or is her mutant powers like, you know, boasted because like where does that go?
personally, yeah, my personal interpretation is everything we've seen most of the time is our mutant powers.
Mm-hmm.
From her mother's side, she has a magical heritage that she inherited,
Mm-hmm.
and she has not ever really gone deep into it, into study it. And if you know anything about magic in the Marvel universe, you have to do serious study.
Right,
Even sometimes Scarlet Witch that is even said to be a mutant and stuff like that, you still have to study magic. You just can't just do it. And
right.
Storm has not really had the opportunities to do that proper study. So most of what we've seen has been her mutant abilities.
Okay,
So, but sometimes writers try to say, okay, what if she's mixing a little magic into it and stuff like that. In this story, we're going to explore it just a little bit because we
okay,
also want her to explore her family heritage. She's going to probably use a spell or two, but you're going to know that this is magic. It's
right.
going to be separate from this is her mutant abilities.
Okay,
She's going to say actual magic words.
okay.
But if you see her like do other stuff, it's her mutant abilities. But just like I said, because of the role she plays as regards like being carrying herself as a goddess and stuff,
Right.
when she uses her mutant abilities, she says grand things that makes us think they are spells, but they're not spells. It's like in X-Men 97, when she's saying ancient sands, heed my command. Like it is not a spell. She's just being dramatic. She's just summoning the wind.
I just thought her powers were voice activated.
She's a very dramatic person, and that's just it.
Yeah,
She's
right.
grand, the way she carries herself, everything.
Yeah, and I remember in the first X-Men episode, like Rogue even said, like, "Can you just calm down with the speeches? Like, just calm and
Yeah.
tone down."
Yeah. So like if you shut her mouth, she would still be able to do like
Right,
if it was
right,
magic, if you kept her mouth shut, she would be able to use her powers, but
right.
she could still use her powers. So she's just a very dramatic person. And that's
X-Men, and that's just X-Men. That is
yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the old God vibe that I want to put in because Thor does the same thing too. He
oh yeah,
doesn't need to say anything. And it's like, yeah, by the might and the fury of the Kid, so and it's part of it. So it's that grandness I want to put in the story. I'm not I'm not going to say, oh, she's no longer a mutant or anything.
right, right. Of course. Storm heard Thor like, "I am the god of Thor." She was like, "Hold my wine. I got something better for that." And now Thor's like, I can't even do nothing with her around. I can't even say nothing. Like, she always had to show me up.
Yeah.
Storm, I get. Oh my god, Storm. Oh, I would. Storm is really hilarious. Ironically, wait, he's like
Yes,
unintentionally,
yes.
but she's never around anybody who
Mm-hmm.
really calls her out about like, you don't need to talk like that, right? I do this because I
You
want
don't need to talk.
to.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's and if you studied Storm and you know her background,
yeah,
you kind of you like the fact that she does that. The
yeah.
fact that she grew up on the streets, every experience she has been through, she's supposed to have like a confidence issue.
Mhm.
She's supposed to be someone that is shy, and despite everything she's been through, she's bold and confident.
Oh, I
So
love
it's so instead of it coming off as this person is annoyingly proud, it just feels like, man, this person is very resilient. That after going through all that, you can still say, look at me, I'm a goddess,
right.
that kind of thing. So
I got you. Okay, what is your favorite era of Storm? What era of Storm did you get like be like, this is I love this Storm. This is my favorite. This is
it's
a deep question.
it's hard.
All right, all right, all right. What are your favorite moments in Storm's history? Like, let's make it make it
Okay. I think that's better.
right.
Um, I like the Chris Claremont era. I like the Chris Claremont era, but not all of them.
Thank you.
Not all of them. The the time when she's not with her powers, not so much. But I like the fact that she beat Cyclops.
Yeah,
That's always good.
yeah. Like she beat Cyclops, but like I don't like the like everything surrounding it. Like her, like
Yeah, then
Cyclops'
that's how
wife like
instead of
gave her
saying
crocodile teeth.
she beat Cyclops clean, they start saying that yeah, someone was in his mind, blah 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 was this, like retconning it, like dude, yeah,
No. She beat him. No. Storm beat Cyclops. I just don't like the fact that Storm got manipulated into doing that because Xavier had just left.
no
Like,
no no. Some people even say like there are stories after that now said that Madeline Pryor was manipulating him. That's why
yeah,
he lost, and all those other
no,
stories.
no,
And I'm like,
Maddie manipulated Storm because she went to her and say, "Oh no, I have a child here. I don't want to put them in constant danger." Not thinking that the Fantastic Four were doing the exact same thing at the time. So like Maddie cried
with
crocodile tears, used Storm to challenge for leadership, and Cyclops wanted to go to me. In my Cyclops wanted to go. He would like, okay, let's do the transition just so like to help you out because I don't think Cyclops is that bad. He's not a bad guy. I don't think he would have gatekeep
no
Storm.
no no. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I just like the fact that I kind of proved that she could be badass too,
Oh yeah, no,
especially when it
she
comes to
is a
hand-to-hand
total
combat.
badass. I love Thief Storm when her and Gambit are just going around stealing
Gambits.
stuff on gang.
So, I like that in X-Women
Yes,
by Chris Claremont and Mino Manara. That was very sexy.
that was dope.
Um, um, there's this comic. I won't say it's the best of stories, but I just like the visual surrounding it. Um, I think something far apart or something. It's Storm was married to Black Panther at the time.
Yeah,
She left to save I can't I thought, you know what, let's forget it. But is this story about it was also fighting Cyclops too,
yeah, that
but
was cool.
yeah, so then the recent stuff with X of Swords and X-Men Red,
Yeah,
they've been good,
it was good. That was
so
cool. Great.
yeah, so different stuff like that. Some stuff from Fantastic Four. So they're scattered all around different eras. I wouldn't say a particular era was like super, super superior, but the recent era has been more consistently strong, I think.
Yeah, like Storm really doesn't take losses when it comes to like I think one critique that I can agree with it. Storm's never wrong. She's never like, oh, I went this way. Like, oh, it went south. She's always right. She always knows. She's always 100% on point. Was always the right decision. Never in doubt. And like,
Uh,
just
I, I,
yeah,
I think it's more of a situation of, you know, even if you're wrong, but you're just so confident and persistent, everything bends around to make you right right after. I think it might be more of that. I don't think she's never not been wrong. It's not that she's been wrong, but she's just so adamant that everybody eventually says, you know what? Okay, yeah, yeah, correct. You know what? Let's just
So
forget about
so
it.
the house is on fire. Like she set the house on fire. No, I didn't. You know what? Maybe she didn't. Yeah, Storm did. Yeah, Storm did. Storm didn't set that fire. That fire
Or more
happened.
like, the house was making you to a bad man. I set it on fire so you could learn something, or something like that.
She knows how to spin.
And
She knows
yeah,
how to
maybe I was being
spin.
a jerk when I was living in that house.
Oh, but that would be see Storm. Like if I would love like a little cartoon strip of like Storm in those type of situations where she's like, "What? No, I didn't burn. No, I didn't do that. Fly away." You know, just, just, just more sense of like because Storm, she kind of seems like she could be so like really like uptight, but she's really funny. She's really funny if you just like look
Yes,
at her.
yes, yes. And while I was doing research, especially when I was looking at relationships she's had, I've seen with T'Challa and all those stuff. It was I didn't know I would like her with Wolverine,
No,
but that was the aspect I saw when she was with Wolverine. It was that it brought out more of that mischievous side of her.
right.
That was the saving grace for that relation, because I was like, they don't fit. But I saw that anytime a writer wrote both of them, she was always more mischievous, and I found that kind of charming. So I was like, okay, okay, I'll give that a
Yeah,
chance.
yeah. Like like she was open about it, but she kept it so. She tried like anytime he tried to flirt with her in public, she was like, "No, we will not talk about that right now. We will not talk. We are at a parent teacher conference." But all right, so um, so where's Storm's relationship status at the time of when your book drops? Like, where is she with that?
Single,
She, oh,
single.
she dropped Craig from NASA.
Yeah,
Oh,
and okay, so in universe, something happened between them, and as the story goes on, we're going to find out what happened that broke them up and
okay,
why she's
okay.
going solo now. But outside universe, when I got called on, like in the real world, when I got called on to take over the job, um resurrection of Magneto was still going on. I didn't know what Storm's situation was. I you know to and you know to the way the era was going was they were going to like reset a lot of things. Dead characters were going to be, so we didn't know what the status quo was going to be. So we're basically writing these stories kind of blind, not
Right.
knowing what would happen. Like I think at some point, like because on a group with Jed McKay, and suddenly Jed McKay saw in like the Wolverine stories that Quentin Quire died. I was like, wait, Quentin Quire died. I'm writing Quentin Quire in my story. And then later found out that the next Men 35, they brought them all back.
Yeah.
So stuff. So we were writing blind. So I didn't know what the situation of Craig was going to be. I don't want to write that she was in a relationship when maybe Craig was going to die or something in X-Men 35 or anything.
Right.
So I started out all solo, then I would address it. So now that I know where the
Okay.
thing ended, so I can address it in future issues.
Oh, okay. Because oh, you say you're bringing in Doctor Doom, and his entire thing is hitting on Storm. So that's going to be
Yeah,
hilarious.
very, very.
Just like every time, and I
For the third time.
it's like stop in my DMs, okay? I blocked you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
dude,
this one's going to take place in Latveria. So Storm is coming over to get seduced.
oh god, and she's like, ugh, ugh. That's I would love to see her like, ugh. I don't want to talk to Doom. He's so creepy.
Something happened in issue 3 that forced our hands into going
It
to
was
Doom.
like
So you're going to like
personal
it.
Latveria. Oh. Oh, but Storm is see, Storm is hilarious when she has to deal with her exes, like when she has to deal with Ford, had or no, not even like just
Now in Avengers, like I read one of the scripts in Avengers. I think the one that's going to come up soon, and I already see kind of like the dynamic between like Storm and T'Challa. And I'm like, oh, this like drama is cooking,
that,
but I've not caught up on the scripts.
oh my, it'd be really funny just to see how that like if they do get back together, like just to see them hating each other to them actually liking each other again, because that's always
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
going
so
to be
much
a very fun journey. Seeing them as teammates, maybe hate each other, then flirt a little, then come back, and see that dynamic.
or then like he tries to go or he tries to like tell her how he feels. she's she's he sees her with like somebody like Wolverine,
Another
and
man.
Wolverine just gives him that look like, I know what you're doing.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, like he's like, no, I'm locking this down. And, oh, think about the oh, that'd be a great reality show. The Suitors of Storm and what they do to try to get trying to get her. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So, all right. So do all right. So I want to talk about Akugun, the brutalizer. What? Okay. I told you before. It reads like Beowulf. It's an epic poem. I see a lot of like Greek mythology in it. Like it's just like I want to see this as a movie, kind of, but I feel like it's way too big,
Mm.
way too big. Wait, the scale. Like, what was your like? What did you intend to do? With this series that's still going. Check it out. It's really good.
Um, ah, um, at the time, Oni reached out to us and they said they wanted like Black Conan.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'll do you one better. I'll get you an African Conan. You know, so it's going to be African mythology, you know, and we're going to put a barbarian in it. And it's like, okay, but what's a barbarian? What's the barbarian to in African stories, in African folktale? In Western folktale, it's always a story about the warriors, the knights in shiny armor, the barbarian and stuff. But in a lot of African stories, it's usually the hunters. Warriors are usually like they're usually at home base, the palace to protect this thing. It's the hunters that go exploring the forest, going from kingdom to kingdom, hunting game, discovering new things. So with that, okay, the version of the barbarian to African stories is the hunter. So we knew it was going to be a hunter. And I there was a project I was supposed to work on in Marvel that still eventually happened. And it was supposed to be this big cosmic epic. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this big cosmic epic with Yoruba mythology, with our gods and everything. Like, I'm going to do that in the same story. So I wanted to play around with, beings like Orunmila or Batala, the if I'm to make a poor comparison, talking about characters like Zeus, Poseidon, Odin, those are the
Oh,
characters
that
we're going
whole
to be like bringing into this. And then imagine telling a story about Conan the Barbarian in a world where Zeus and all these gods exist and he has to face them. It's going to be like, how are you going to face these freaking gods? And I'm like, yeah, the impossible nature of it, that is where the story is. Let's explore that in this.
dang, that's crazy. Read the Brutalizer, okay? It's so good. Okay, all right. All right. Let's have a little bit of fun. Where does Storm? All right, you're writing Storm, so you already know where she stands with everything. Where does she stand with Cyclops right now?
They are cool based on what happened in Fall of the House of X.
Ma- Magneto.
They are cool, but You say?
Oh, okay. Magneto. Like I'm gonna give you a character, and you're gonna say like whether they're cool or
Okay,
not, and
Magneto.
like or if they still have beef or whatever. Like however you want to
No,
say
no,
it.
no. They are cool. They are cool right now. We're not sure for how long, and I
Right.
will not reveal for how long or if they will continue being cool. You know. So with Magneto, they are cool from their experience in X-Men X and Resurrection of Magneto.
Okay. Um, Rogue.
She visits Rogue. They are pretty cool too. But the thing is, right now in the From the Ashes era, even though characters are split, they are still they've gone through a lot of hurts and outbreaks and all those things. But there's still this sense of unity coming from the Krakoa era. But as time goes on, we start to see that thing crack.
Okay.
Because now, for example, we have, a team of, I'm not saying this is what will happen, I'm just
Yeah, shit. Yeah,
theorizing.
yeah. Of
We
course.
have the team of, we have the Uncanny X-Men in New Orleans, we have the Alaskan X-Men, gradually, the longer they stay there, they're going to have their own goals and dreams. The
Right.
longer they stay there, they're going to have their own philosophies. And you realize that, oh, 10 issues, 12 issues, their philosophy is now like almost like this. So when it's time for them to like team up, it's like we don't see things the same way anymore.
Right.
Yet, so that's what the separation will probably cause.
Right.
So
Of
yeah,
course.
because before they were on Krakoa, where they had the same goals, the same dreams, and it's only natural, because we change with time.
Yeah.
Storm right now is by herself in Atlanta. Yeah. So she's cool with everybody, but she's going to face some challenges. She's going to face some villains. She's going to face things that will gradually change her. So when she meets other ex characters, would they still be on the same page? Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes, maybe not. Maybe they've changed so much, you
Okay.
know. Like some people, like some people, for example, some people reading NYX are
Mhm.
already angry at the Storm book, even though it's not out yet. And why are they angry? They're like, they're like mutants are suffering, some are homeless, some are living underground, and Storm is in this big sanctuary all by herself, living all luxurious. Because that's where the story starts in Storm One. That why can't she use that space to house more more
What?
mutants instead of her just and being all rich and selfish,
What?
So you already kind of see that clash already.
Really, really, really. These I see. I can't take that seriously because they say, oh, the mutants are living in swords. Those swords look really, really clean. Though, like the Morlock Society, like I was reading the new latest book this week. That was a clean house. Okay, I didn't see any rats. I don't see any rent control.
Yeah, but Storm's place is all legit, with like giraffes and hippos
She's
with
earned
golden
it.
doors.
She's earned it, my friend. She's earned it. Okay, I don't see any other mutants lose their powers by their boyfriend at the time and then get them back.
and she's been the regent of Araco. She's been the queen of Wakanda. She's in the Avengers, So there's money, and she's been saving up. She's been poor before. She's not going to be poor again. She's been saving up and all those stuff. So,
Of
and
course.
this is going to be also, there's going to be an element of political thriller here too. So for her to be able to be the big dog and talking to countries, you need to have the big box too.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that because like
But but
it's
but but you understand. But for example, for a mutant that's been living on the streets, they might not want to hear that from Storm, being
uh,
like, "Dude, I've been homeless." So I'm just like trying to tell you that these
yeah,
are
yeah,
the kind of
I get it.
drama that might happen in future stories as we move on. It
Yeah,
might not
but
even be written by me, it might be written by Jackson Lazar and Colin
oh yeah.
Kelly, it might be anything. So,
Oh no, I get it. I get it. But my thing is, in NYX, there is a telepath. There is a you got the cuckoos. they can make something
Mhm.
happen. I'm just saying, like, just saying, like, mutant powers, get creative. Let's get creative with this. No, man. Like, oh man, this is all right. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been so cool. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait till Wednesday. It's gonna be so
Yeah.
like all the success. I like. Also, this is so cool. How did you come up with these titles? We were all being by a drunken
Oh,
god. Drunk god.
yeah,
That's
I love titles. I love all these titles. We also do that in Storm too. Every issue, every episode has a fresh cool title. You know,
um,
Storm 5 is Oblivion waits dot no longer. Cool titles like that.
nice. Like,
Issue 2 is Death by Voodoo,
yeah,
So we play
oh,
around with stuff,
that's
stuff
gonna
like
be
that.
dope. I can't wait for it. I'm getting two. I'm gonna try to see if I can get a variant cover, but you know how these things be.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you so much for doing this. Like, I know you're super busy. You got crossovers and the next events that about to come out. Like, you're on a deadline, and you took this time to do this with me. I really appreciate it, brother. I feel like thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is 1407 Gray Malkin Lane. I'll see you soon. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.